Luke records that 2 criminals were led out with Jesus to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, and the criminals were placed on either side, one on the right and one on the left. Luke 23:32 through 33. Jesus was positioned in the center. Isaiah had already written that the servant would be numbered with transgressors, Isaiah 53:12. Jesus did not die separately from sinners. He died among them and in their place. That scene fulfilled prophecy and revealed what his death accomplished. Welcome back to Gospel Kanji. I'm your host, Kent Cisco. One of the criminals on a cross beside Jesus eventually recognized his own guilt and turned toward Jesus and said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Luke 23:42. Jesus responded, "Truly I say to you, today you shall be with me in paradise." Verse 43. That exchange shows that the cross was not only the place where sin was judged, it was the place where access to God was opened. When Jesus cried out and yielded up his spirit, the veil of the temple was torn from top to bottom. Matthew 27:50 through 51. That curtain separated sinful man from the Holy of Holies. Its tearing signified that God himself removed the barrier. The way into his presence was now open because the sacrifice had been made. This is what the apostles proclaimed at Pentecost. In Acts 2, Peter explains that Jesus was delivered over by the predetermined plan of God. You nailed him to a cross, and you put him to death, but God raised him up again. Acts 2:23 through 24. The wise men, hearing this message at Pentecost, are pierced to the heart and finally understand the full meaning of what had taken place at Golgotha. The king they had once worshipped as a child had opened the way for mankind to come to God through his death. Now consider the kanji for come. Visually, the character can be understood in light of the crucifixion scene. In the New Testament, the cross is described as a tree, Acts 5:30 and Galatians 3:13. When Jesus was crucified, he was nailed to wood. If you place the symbol for man on either side of the symbol for tree, you see the arrangement described in Luke's gospel. One man on the left, one man on the right, and the one in the center on the cross forms the tree. But there is another layer. When 2 men are placed together, they form the word for people, or all people, referring to humanity collectively. That is significant. The 2 men on either side of Jesus were real historical individuals. Yet, visually, the kanji presents the idea of all people. The cross was not only between 2 criminals, it stood between representatives of mankind. Christ did not die for one ethnic group alone or one nation. He died for all people. The character for come carries a double meaning when seen in light of the crucifixion. It reflects the historical scene described in Luke 23, 2 men with Jesus in the center. At the same time, those 2 kanji for man together communicate all people. The one on the tree died for humanity. This is consistent with the apostolic message. Paul writes that Christ Jesus gave himself as a ransom for all, 1 Timothy 2:5 through 6. The invitation that opened at the cross was not restricted. When the veil was torn, it was torn for the world. The crucifixion fulfills prophecy, satisfies justice, and removes separation between God and man. Because Jesus was placed between sinners and bore their sin, the way is open. The invitation is grounded in a completed sacrifice. The cross stands at the center. Humanity stands on either side. And because he died for all the people, the invitation remains what it has been since that day. Come. This is Gospel Kanji. See you next time.